The following TBT interview with Sean Only was pre-recorded by phone call on the 26th of June 2017.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TBT Interviews. I am Matt Burns, and tonight we have got Sean Only.
Hi guys, how are we doing?
How you doing? I will say, absolutely brilliant wrestler, fantastic. I can actually say, if I'm first hand, definitely knows one or two things about being around the ring and also around the venue as well.
Aye, one or two.
So, is there anything you want to, with the early beginnings of yourself?
Sorry, say that again, Paul.
The early beginnings of yourself, like how did you start?
Well, I started training under the tutelage of a couple of old World of Sport wrestlers from back in the day, by the names of Jeff Kay and a guy called Drew McDonald, the late great Drew McDonald, who unfortunately is no longer with us.
Oh, I know, legend.
He is. Well, to be honest, they're both absolute legends, but obviously Drew's very, very sorely missed as well. So I started my training under the tutelage of those guys, learning the kind of, I guess, the World of Sport style, the old British style, mixed with obviously the American sort of style that we were all used to. It was hard. It was learning to bump on thin mats. It wasn't very glamorous, but it was just the start that I needed in the business, and they're the guys that I really looked up to, and they're the guys that gave me my first start. So I'll always appreciate them for that.
I can imagine the first early bumps. I can imagine what was it like taking your first bump?
Well, I think the first bump for anyone is always an eye opener. Even when it's in a ring, even when it's in a nice rings aren't exactly soft, but when it's as soft as a ring can possibly be, it's still a massive eye opener, and it usually stops people from coming back. To be honest, that's usually the bridge that most people don't want to cross. But when you add into it the fact that you're doing it on a tiny little thin mat, which is basically just on a hardwood floor, it's infinitely worse. But it does toughen you up, and I think if you get used to doing it like that, then it makes the rest of it so much easier. And,
definitely. I can actually attest to that myself from first-hand experience. I remember the first few times on thinly veiled mats, it was like, my back, I wonder if I could take, how many of these can I take? And then eventually, it starts building up, and then eventually when you do get to the ring, it's almost heaven.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No.
I don't think I've ever took a bump and thought, "Ooh, that was heavenly." But it does certainly get better over time.
Exactly, that's what I mean. But I'll never forget some of the mats I was on. They were pretty much rock solid. It was. I felt like, should we do this on concrete?
Yeah. But like I said, we've all got to start somewhere, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I think if you are going to start training, your best bet is to find somewhere with a ring. But things are totally different now. There's umpteen training places with reputable trainers with great rings and great facilities all up and down the country. Unfortunately, I'm going back quite a few years now, so those options weren't necessarily there to me at the time. But luckily, I did have some great trainers. So the fact that we didn't actually have a ring to bump in, and we couldn't practice rope running and jumping off the top rope and all those kind of things. I did kind of miss out, I guess, a little bit, initially, but the fact that I was being trained by such legends, made up for that completely, I'd say.
The experience of from the legends must have been absolutely brilliant for you, because the groundwork, the British style and everything that they must have taught you.
Yeah, absolutely, and also just sort of an understanding of the business and how things work. It's not your regular type of job, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of nuances and a lot of I don't want to say the word politics, but there's a lot of learning that needs to be done. That's not just how to bump and how to put a match together. Other things that come into being a wrestler that they were very helpful with. So.
One aspect that I've always believed in, and a few people have also, fellow colleagues have always believed in with the wrestling business, is that you're always learning.
Absolutely, yeah. I think if it gets to the point where you feel like there's nothing to learn, then something's gone wrong, because
definitely
the top guys that have been around for years and years and years, they all attest to exactly the same thing. They're all still learning. They're all still learning on the job. Every match can be a learning experience, and every new opponent can be equally as important. So yeah, there's always new things to pick up.
I will say, with myself, I've actually seen you on a number of cards. I've seen you a couple of times in shows, and I will say you've always been a good entertainer. Times when I have seen you have been a main eventer as well.
Yeah, to be honest, that's been coming along a lot more recently. I've found myself being put in more sort of main event type positions and in main event type angles and stuff. Which is amazing. I really appreciate the sort of faith it's been put in me, and it's hopefully kind of making me step my game up a little bit so I can justify the position in the card that I've been put on recently for a few places.
Well, so far both myself and my colleague Nathan Goff, who actually came down to watch it WrestleMania, we thought it was quite fitting how you were in the main event. You had that big match feel, and you put a nice little spin on everything as well. And what was so good as well with you being the hometown hero as well.
Yeah, I must admit, I really do enjoy wrestling in Birkenhead. It was always kind of a bit of a dream of mine to be able to perform in my hometown. I've sort of done a few shows around the Liverpool area, Chester, and like Warrington, and places not too far away. But there wasn't really a viable company, or certainly not that I was aware of. Apologies if there has been shows running in Birkenhead, but there's no shows that I was aware of running in Birkenhead. So when Wrestle Island came around, and also they were interested in using me, I was absolutely over the moon. To be quite honest, like it's awesome having my sisters and my mum and whatnot in the crowd. It's quite a cool experience.
It's always a bit of a good energy booster as well. To have your loved ones, your family there to watch and be entertained.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
One thing I will say, you do actually wrestle for a number of companies, like TNT as well.
Yeah.
Tidal Wave, and you've also got Wrestle Island, of course. I've also noticed that you managed to win a few championships which must have been felt nice. That you've got like certain companies backing you as well.
Yeah, it's again it's similar to what I was saying with the sort of improved position that I've been put in the card recently. I've also been very, very fortunate to win myself a few championships, which I'm not saying the championships are the most important thing in the world, and they're not the most important thing in wrestling, but I think everybody, when they first start training and when they have aspirations of becoming a wrestler, everybody dreams of having a belt around their shoulder and a belt around their waist. It's just one of those kind of one of those things that everybody thinks, no matter what type of wrestling they grew up with, or no matter what type of wrestler they want to be.
I can agree with you on that one. So what sort of future have you got any like big plans for the future for yourself?
I do. Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, I just want to keep on doing what I'm doing, keep on pushing on. Like you said before, it's constantly a constant learning experience, and I don't have any I don't have any false impressions about my position in British wrestling. I think I've got a lot more rungs on the ladder to climb yet, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of being able to do that. Looking forward to meeting lots of new opponents on the way. Hopefully picking up a few more championships and maybe being put in a few more main events, and we'll see how it goes there. I think I've got momentum on my side, but at the same time, there's a big hill in front of me that I've got to climb, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of climbing it.
Yeah, one thing I also noticed about you as well, you've also got quite a bit of a unique look on the British scene as well.
What's that? Say that again, sorry.
You've got like a unique look. Attire,
okay, right, yeah,
and everything.
Yeah.
I know a few people would at times compare you to like CM Punk and whatnot at times. I can imagine you get that a lot. But when the second I saw you wrestling, straight away, I knew straight away it's you've got a little bit, but you've also got your own little style to it, which is quite unique.
Yeah, I like to put my own twist on things. Anyone that's seen me wrestle knows that I've got an MMA influence. I was big into kickboxing, submission wrestling, and judo and various other things. I never actually competed in MMA myself, but I do have a background in most of those styles. So it was only sort of natural for me to start incorporating them into the professional wrestling realm. It's not the most unusual thing. I think a lot of people have started incorporating more.
It's quite well.
Legitimate fighting styles and whatnot, but like I like to think that I put my own little twist on it. Like I kind of do it in my own like unique way. I like
you do.
So.
I can honestly say I can attest to that from what I've seen of you, and it's quite refreshing to see such a unique style as well.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going for. So yeah, I appreciate that.
So it makes you stand out even more, which my colleague actually pointed out. He actually said, you actually see you sort of sitting the way you were holding, doing certain throws and whatnot. You could tell that it wasn't just wrestling. So
yeah.
it's interesting at the same time. So with the style, is there, apart from MMA, is there any other wrestlers that also inspired you for your style?
Well, growing up, I was a huge fan of the 1-2-3 Kid and latterly, obviously X-Pac, Mr. Sean Waltman. It was the ferocity with which he delivered his kicks, his spinning kicks, and how legitimate they looked. And it was so clear to me as a kid that like, yeah, this guy is obviously a legit martial artist as well as being a great wrestler. I wouldn't say that my style particularly echoes Sean Waltman's, but there's definitely a big influence there. I definitely took a lot of cues from him. Yeah, he's always been a big hero of mine. The great Muta, Keiji Muto, I feel like I was being incredibly arrogant if I tried to compare myself to him, so I'm not going to do that. But the way he moves always astounded me, fascinated me in the ring, and I've tried on some level to incorporate some of that movement into the way that I deliver certain offense and whatnot as well.
Yeah, it's not like you're trying to compare or say you're any better or anything. It's more or less of you're inspired. You want to pay homage.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, but the great Keiji Muto, he's just in an absolute world of his own. So I feel like as soon as his name gets mentioned, it's kind of like, well, I'm not saying I'm as good as him, of course. This is the great Muto we're talking about, but yeah.
Definitely. I know exactly what you mean, and I will say he has a unique style. Even before he was wearing the masks and everything, he was always an interesting character.
Absolutely, it was the combination of the character, the movement, the skill in the ring, and the control of the crowd, like the psychology. There's not many people that can mix all four of those things together so well. Like you get a lot of people that have maybe got three and like they can do the other one a little bit, or maybe pick two or three of the four. But it's very rare that you get someone that can deliver all four with such amazing consistency.
Definitely, I'd have to absolutely agree. One thing I will say, with you being up and down the road, have you come across any like funny stories or anything while on the road and everything?
I'll not lie. There's constant funny stories in wrestling. It doesn't stop. Every single show, I come home to my missus, and there's like I never know where to start because there's almost always consistently so many ridiculous things that happen. However, for the most part, they're either not suitable to be repeated or they're not appropriate to be repeated. So
that's right.
It's one of those things that kind of mostly has to be left to the imagination, really. But
it's sort of you had to be there.
Yeah, but put it this way: the wrestling world is a crazy place, and it keeps on being crazy, and it doesn't show any signs of relenting.
It never does. Trust me, even I can attest to that, going up and down the road myself, travelling to Wales and travelling back, because I'm actually from Stoke myself. A 2-hour journey. I've done it in there and back on the same night. Just having a car full of wrestlers, you can you hear so many funny stories, funny jokes, and everything. Even at times, at one point, there's been somebody's made me laugh so hard I'm having to pull over because I can't see, because I'm crying of laughter.
Yeah, those journeys can go on for a long time. So you got you need to start building up a rapport with people. You need to start building up a bond, and that's when the silliness and the jokes usually come out, because, like I say, we've got a lot of time to kill, and it's best to kill it with larks and japes rather than
definitely.
rather than misery and violence.
I couldn't agree more with you on that one. I couldn't agree more with you. One thing I will say, with you being up and down on the road and everything, is there anybody who you think is like a standout, could be a potential standout on the British scene or on the rise?
I'll tell you what, this is like, I kind of wish I'd been able to have some think about this a little bit before, because there's just so many names. Like, British wrestling at the moment is like, it's almost difficult to put it into words how astoundingly awesome, like, practically everybody that I see at the moment is. Coming off the top of my head, like Kip Sabian, he's a really good guy and he's an incredible worker. His name's, I mean, to be honest, it's already getting about quite a lot, but I see very, very big.
I always keep saying his name everywhere.
Yeah, Chris Ridgway, again, he's starting to really break out, and I can't see that not continuing and him breaking out even further. Mate, to be honest, I could name so many people right now, but we'll leave it with those two, because
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, where do you think British wrestling will be in like 5 years' time? Like in the future, where do you see British wrestling going?
Well, the way British wrestling is at the moment, it's the envy of the entire world. There's so many imports that previously were coming over to try and make a little bit of maybe a bit of extra money, coming over here, doing a couple of extra British tours just to get some extra work. Whereas now people are desperate to come over here for the exposure, for working with our guys, and for being on these big shows that are being talked about and heralded the world over. So if it continues the way it's going, then it's just going to continue expanding. I mean, like what's been happening with things like the World of Sport and WWE UK tournament, and so many of the guys that are being used like that. Like,
it's always on the rise.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was a very roundabout way of me basically saying that. Yeah, it's on the rise, and it doesn't show any signs of stopping or slowing down at all.
I can honestly say it's almost like, is this going to be leading into like the next British wrestling boom and everything?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, the way I see it, having been around for like a few years now, there's been a core of guys that are incredibly talented and incredibly hardworking, that haven't been getting the what's the word I'm looking for? Haven't been getting the appreciation that they deserve.
Yeah.
And now that's all changing. All those guys are now starting to get those forward and get the appreciation that they deserve, and that's opening the doors for so many more people. So it's just it's a great time to be involved, and it's a great time to get yourself down to some shows as well if you haven't already.
Well, one thing that we always say at almost every interview and every show or broadcast, we always recommend everybody to always check out your local wrestling show.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's the best time ever to do that right now.
It is, because with myself, I've gone down to a local show, and you never know, you could be seeing the next future superstar. The next guy who's going into TNA, into Impact Wrestling, or the next guy heading to WWE.
And you can be the guy to say, I saw him first, and you can feel real smart with telling all your mates about it.
You can do as well, but at the same time, it's also amazing seeing the growth as well.
Absolutely.
Because one person who I've actually seen grow into such a superstar is Pete Dunne.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've known Pete for quite a while now. It's not just Pete, obviously with him being given the title.
Yeah,
it's he's kind of become the focal point, I guess. But yeah, just fair play to the guy. Absolutely, couldn't be more deserving.
Agreed. In fact, Carla Bates as well. When I first actually met him, and he told me his age, I was like, "You're so right. You have to show me his ID."
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can also say, I'll say that just like for wrap up. I will say thank you very much for your time. But one thing I will say, Where can people find you?
Well, if you want to check out my Instagram or Twitter at Real Sean Only, there's always information about what shows are coming up there. If you add me on Facebook, if you search for Sean Only, I will generally accept most people, and also there is a lot of news on there. Check out Rise Wrestling, check out Title Championship Wrestling, check out Wrestle Island, check out TNT Extreme in Liverpool. Check it. Oh, mate, there's some others I should probably be mentioning, but I'm under pressure and I'm forgetting. Check out every company that I work for, because they're all proper boss.
I couldn't agree more with you on that, because I've actually seen the list myself, and it's like, definitely it is proper boss.
Proper boss is the opposite term, indeed.
Is there anybody else can get any merchandise from yourself as well?
Say that again, sorry, dude.
Is there anywhere that anybody can get merchandise from yourself as well?
Yeah, I've actually got some lovely new burgundy shirts out at the very, very reasonable price of £10. Well, you have to put a little bit on if you want to pay postage and whatnot. But if you contact me via email, I can send them to you with a little PayPal payment. And if not, they're always available at shows whenever I'm appearing.
So they have it, folks. Always check out the Sean Only merchandise.
It's the best merchandise. So I'm told, anyway. So my mum tells me. So I'm told by my mum.
Well, if I recall, I hear Sean Only chants and everything, and multiple people buying your shirts and everything.
I'll tell you what, it's always really, really nice to see Sean Only shirts in a crowd at a show. It really does make me feel very appreciated and
it's well deserving as well.
And my wallet also massively appreciates it. So yay!
It's quite deserving as well, because you do actually work hard and everything in what you do, and the fact that you've actually done this interview on such short notice, I will say thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it. My absolute pleasure.
You're more than welcome. The one thing I will say, so with that, folks, that will be the end of this interview. I'm going to basically advertise the UK Wrestle Fan Zone, the UKWA, and whatnot. You can find the Burning Truth on social media, on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can even email us and whatnot. So with that, as always, check out your local wrestling. Stay well, stay safe, and catch you either at the next interview or the next broadcast. Catch you later.